In this video, we're going to discuss for loops. Loops are very different than conditionals. When you look at the if statement, that was a conditional. It would execute something depending on whether the condition was true or whether the condition was false. A for loop will execute statements for a specific amount of times. Let's see how this works when coding. Go ahead and insert a button. Assign that to a new macro. So this will be an introduction to the for loop. First, we're going to set a variable I to the data type integer. Say I want to color a specific number of cells, say 1 through 10. Then, for I equal to 1, so that's the starting point, I equals 1, 2, we said 10. So from I equals 1 to I equals 10, cells, and now row index followed by the column index. So I don't want my row to change. So I want everything to remain in the first row. So that's going to be 1. And I want my column to change. So that's going to be I. So 1, comma I. And we're going to set this interior color to be equal to RGB value 25500. So red. To close this for loop, we're going to say next I, and that's telling the code to continue on to the next I value. So what this is saying is it's going to use I equal to 1 first. So I is 1, so cells is going to be 1, comma 1, which is going to be our first cell in row 1, column A, and that's going to be colored red. Our next I after 1, counting up, will be 2. So now we're at cell 1, comma 2. And that's going to be colored red, so that would be B1, row 1, column B. Now it's going to go to the next I, because we haven't reached our maximum of 10 yet. So it's going to go to 3. So now it's going to do cell 1, comma 3 and color that red. And that would be row 1, column C. All the way up, after 3, it would go to 4, and then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all the way up to 10. And when it reaches that 10, which would be row 1, column J, it's going to color that red, and then it's going to try to go to the next I. But there is no I after 10 because we set I to be 1 to 10, and I cannot equal 11, so it will exit this loop that's closed within the for and the next, and then it will execute any code after that. But between this for and next, that I will count up until it reaches 10, and then it will exit the loop. Let's go ahead and run this and see what it looks like. Clicking the button, cells 1, through 110 are highlighted red. Now let's say instead of changing the column, I just changed the row. So I set the row to be I and the column to be 1. And let's pick a different color. So now we're going to do green. So now if we're changing the row, everything's going to remain in A, it's just going to go down. So 1, 1 will be A1. Then we'll go to the next I. After that's colored green. And then we'll go to A2 because I will be equal to 2, and so on, all the way up to A10. And then there is no 11 for I, so we'll exit out of that loop. Running this, and then green. Now, if we wanted to change both the row and the column, and we made that blue, I is 1 to start, so that's going to be cell 1, 1. So row 1, column A. Then the next I is 2. So then it's going to go to 2, 2. And that's going to be row 2, column B. And then it's going to go to 3, because 3 comes after 2, and so on, all the way up to 10. Writing this, we will see a diagonal line across the page, up to J, or down to 10, which was our limit. And if we wanted to just change the parameters of the loop, let's try a new color, 20, 20, 200. Instead of going from 1 to 10, let's go from 10 to 30. We're going to have cells I, I, so it's going to be again a diagonal line. And now we will see a hue of blue starting at 10 and J and going all the way until 30 and AD, which AD is the corresponding value to 30.